done, right? They did. That counts for something. Good morning to you. I'm being serious. It actually does count. Good morning. From Miami, I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 6, Marlins 5 in 12 innings. Jared Triolo with the winning hit. Jose Hernandez with the save. Home runs from Brian Reynolds, Edward Olivares, and of course, O'Neal Cruz. And all of that sounds really good when I say it like that, doesn't it? I didn't mention the 2 for 17 at the plate with runners in scoring position. I didn't mention the 2 blown double plays. I didn't mention 3 guys thrown out at home plate, all 3 of them in extra innings. There was almost as much to dislike about this event as there was to like. But the one overriding factor, the one thing that triumphed above the rest, quite literally, was the effort. They didn't give up. And I know that sounds like, really hokey, sportsy, cliche type stuff, except that it's accurate. They kept playing. They kept playing hard. They kept making what I thought were in some cases just really big plays. Ke'Bryan Hayes had a bunch. Connor Joe with that dive at first base to preserve a double play for Luis Ortiz. The 3 home runs, each of them pivotal. And then Triolo being the one who finally comes through at the end. And Triolo, having had a really rough game, dropped a ball on a double play relay, had some really non-competitive at-bats. This is, man, I want to say this is the sign of a good team, but I'm going to instead let somebody else do that. I had a good talk with Ryan Borucki afterward. He doesn't get discussed nearly enough, I feel, by this fan base. Really solid lefty who, in a sneaky kind of way, put up very good numbers in 2023 and was a no-brainer to bring back this season. He was one of the 6 relievers who put together 6 1/3 scoreless innings. In that time, those relievers gave up 1 single. That was it. That's how in command they and Borucki were. And I asked Borucki after the game, well, you'll hear it. I'm kind of just joking around with him. Is this what it's going to be like? Like all year?
This is what's going to happen. We're going to face good teams, and, they're going to battle. But it just shows the kind of resilience that we have already. Mitch pitched a really good game. Even though he didn't have probably his A-plus stuff, kept us in the game, and that was huge. And then be able to hand the ball off and just kind of play, just hand the baton. It was really good. Flem did really good.
Yeah.
Ortiz did unbelievable.
It's hard to even remember who all was in the game.
Yeah, no, it was, but that's just all spring. You saw it. The guys that we had and just the depth that we had is so huge. And just because we don't have Carmen, we don't have Holdy yet, but it just shows how promising this bullpen is. And Bednar. So it's just showing how promising this bullpen can do and this pitching staff, what we can do is huge. It's huge for us. And obviously we're playing great defense and timely hitting, and that's what good ball clubs do, win those close games.
Now, he goes over the top there a couple of times. They were really wound up. The clubhouse was really into this W. They were out there for a long time. They had some ups and downs. Nobody likes getting thrown out at home, much less in 3 consecutive innings. But they pushed through it. So for you to hear Borucki, who's really, he's 30 years old. He's kind of a level-headed guy. He's been around a bit. To hear him sounding, woohoo, that's neat. That's neat. This team is going to need a lot more than neat to compete over the remaining 161 games. It's going to need to strike out a whole heck of a lot less. 17 strikeouts. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There wasn't even a discernible pattern to it. They'd swing out of their shoes. They'd watch strike three go by. It looked way too much like a continuation of last season in that specific regard. That has to change. It just has to. They've got to shore up the fundamentals. They're not generally this bad of a fundamental team. And, oh, by the way, not to be forgotten in this, they're going to need a better start out of Mitch Keller the next time he goes out. He had a couple of moments, but he's still about a mile and a half off of his usual velocity on all his stuff. So it tells me that he's not all the way there, although he insisted when I asked him afterward that his stuff was there. The numbers didn't support that. But none of that's going to amount to anything without this type of doggedness, without this determination that they showed from front to finish in this game. They're going to have to embrace that identity. They're not that good naturally to win without it. It's to their credit that they played with it here yesterday. When we come back, J1Q.
This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
Today's J1Q comes from Tom, who says, DK, is this going to be a repeat of last year where the Pirates just stare at very hittable balls going by for strike three with runners on? Tom, I want to say no. I want to say that that's not going to be the case. And I want to say that there were some positives seen throughout this game offensively, because there were. And I want to stress that above the other thing, except that I really can't. I'm watching. It's not everybody, okay? It's some guys, and it just drives you nuts, because there were a couple of instances in which the Pirates had people on base and 2 outs, and you're not going to walk your way to some massive rally. You got to take the bat off your shoulder. 2-strike count. Where do you think they're going to try to pitch you? It can't be stated strongly enough that this team just sits back and waits as if there are no repercussions to that. As if there's no one who's going to say to you, and maybe there isn't, when you get back to the dugout, hey, dude, we need you. We need you to get that bat off your shoulder. We need you to do what those 3 guys who hit the home runs did. We need you to help out. Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes, both of whom had terrific days at the plate. I'd like to think that just because of the advancements that Key has made as a hitter, that he's become someone that you just casually throw into the same category as Reynolds. Key was one of those guys for the better part of last year and for the entirety of the previous year. He just kept watching pitches go by. Didn't matter what the situation was, how many outs, who the pitcher was, how many guys were on base, how far behind your team was. Nothing. He would just watch them go by, and he's not doing that anymore. So that alone is a step. I don't know if it's going to happen. I can tell you this, and this is definitive. If there's been any sort of change in the approach or the philosophy to hitting with this team compared to last year or the previous year, I've not gotten wind of it. Doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. Just means that I don't know about it. But I don't see anything to that effect, do you? Oh, my friends, it's called hitting for a reason, you know? I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Pirates. We'll be back with another one of these on Monday, by which time the team no doubt will be 4-0 and flying high to Washington, D.C.